I got such inspiration today from stopping at a little farm stand that I found in the woods here in Maine. And it was just so charming. And it made my heart flutter when I saw this like homemade little shack in this very secluded woods on this dead end road. I just saw this little sign that led me down there, and it was such a charming place. It made me think about love, and it gave me flashbacks of love and falling in love. And I just saw how humans can just, there's such wealth and abundance in falling in love, because falling in love is kind of like an act of creation as a human being. And when you're creating love like that, and maybe people will debate that, whether love is a creation or if you fall in love, it almost sounds like it's not you. It's like you're falling for something in front of you. It just sounds like it's something outside of yourself, but it's not. Obviously, it's you. It's you creating this love, this act of falling in love, or whatever we call it. And then it's a joint energy exchange, obviously, between whatever you're observing or whatever you're falling in love with. So, and it just made me realize like how much abundance we actually have, because the paradox of love is that love is here in abundance in terms of human creation of love. And yet it can, for some, be extremely rare, in the sense that I've met people that have said they only fell in love once in their life, or I think I've met someone that even said they never fell in love, or I heard someone say they never fell in love in their life. I'm thinking of an older family member, an extended family member who I know of, who never married. And I think she also said that she never fell in love. So it's hard to believe that stuff. I mean, I do believe that obviously that's their experience. But I say it's hard to believe in the sense that there's so much love. There's so many humans here. There's so many potential points of love creation through a human being. And to go through one's life never falling in love or never experiencing that makes it extremely rare. And just kind of like a paradox when we're surrounded by that potential, because it is a potential. I think the human has to engage in the want to fall in love. But in my experience, because I have been in love, once my heart area was activated like that, to me now it feels like I can fall in love so much quicker, so much easier. I can fall in love with someone because my heart's already been activated. And I think it's that first initial falling in love that's really interesting, because you're like, well, where does that come from? You have no reference, no perspective before that event happens, so you're not like looking to fall in love. It just happens. But for me, I think it happens organically, and like that's how it happens. Is it's this organic process of, you know, bonding mentally and emotionally, and then falling in love physically with someone. So for me, it was a very organic process, which helped develop this very natural, deep sense of falling in love with someone over time, over a few years. So all the bonding that happened up into those years, it creates this bond. Literally, that's what it is, this bond. And that becomes this big love frequency. And it's just so incredible. So all of this came to me when I was at this farm stand, which, thank you, Michael, the sweet man who had some coffee ready for me. I am so ready to fall in love again. I feel like once you fall in love and you've been through, especially a disaster love situation, let's call it that, then I think you have that experience behind you, and you know you're so much more refined for the next time you fall in love. And yeah, I think that just comes with maturity and experience. So now, having been through that, now I feel like the next time I fall in love, it's going to just be so much more blissful. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine it, and it's just incredible. It's just beyond words what I really can imagine is possible. Um, um, and for two people to share that together and to have that frequency of love, unconditional love, even between them, that is extreme wealth. That is extreme luxury. And money cannot buy that. Definitely not. It might help if somebody wants to be bought in that way, but no, this is something that is totally free for everyone to experience, and yet it's the most wealthy, luxurious thing. Having said that, I would say also to people who are single, you can also create that love bond with yourself. You know, if because a lot of people don't want to wait around or just even think like, oh, I have to have someone else to complete me. You don't. You can just love yourself and invest in yourself. And, you know, go through that experience of seeing where that takes your feeling body. And if you do find a partner who you bond with and create that sort of love vibration, then that's just so rich. Just so rich. And yeah, you can't buy that. You could surround yourself with beautiful things and really nice things and live in a beautiful environment, and yet some people don't have that love. They're not feeling it, and they're constantly filling up with better quality this, better design that. And really all it is love. All they really want is that feeling, even if they've forgotten that they want it or they think they don't. They do. It's all there is. I really hope that love becomes more available for people moving forward in the future. I just hope that people, because I've just seen such a, where I live in the northeast of the United States of America, it is very designed here. And I say designed very intentionally, because the way it's set up is very segregated, and it keeps people segregated. What do I mean by that? Because that might confuse people. A very big lack of community. And then there's areas of the Northeast not far from where I am now where there's hugely strong communities, and you just feel the difference. So it depends on where you are entirely. However, where I am today is a more affluent area. And the thing about money is when there's too much money in a town or place, then it can very easily segregate people and just make everything too private, where community has less value. You don't need community because everyone has everything they need in their own little bubbles. And that's sad. That just, to me, is sad. I love small towns, and I love small towns with community. And the small town that I'm in today is small, but a lot of money has just come in here, especially since COVID, and it's just made things more private, more segregated. I was even at a coffee shop that used to be just, it's just a regular local coffee shop. And there's a section on the side where you can sit, on tables and stuff, and it's in an alleyway, and they roped it off. They like put a rope barrier around these 2 or 3 little seats. And it was just that exact symbol that I'm talking about, of like creating more segregation. That's just an analogy, because it's just this rope that's kind of segregating the people drinking their coffee from the few people walking down that alleyway. It was just silly, because before, the seats used to be there, the tables used to be there with no rope. And now it's like, and I see that there's so many examples of that in the downtown area here with the restaurants and the cafes, where like they build all these cages to like sit in, and the cages are often, segregated areas of social class, in the sense that there's restaurants that are much more expensive, and then you sit in that expensive cage, and it's still segregated. There's still maybe a more beautiful looking cage, or beautiful looking facade, whatever you want to call it. So I want people to really feel that it starts with each and every one of us. It starts with just each and every human being. And like I said, if you don't have that reference point to heart and like opening your heart, it has to come natural. It has to come with some event in your life. So you can experience that. I think about falling back in love with my ex, just so I could fall back in love. And we've already been through what we've been through, and that's over with. But I think about I just want to fall back in love. In a world as dense as the earth at this time, and it's really not that dense. What's dense here is the consciousness. People talk about being dumbed down, and I equate that with just dense as well. I think that's a good synonymous word. Dense. People are just dense. They're dumbed down, and they're dumbed down by the media. And it's also annoying when people say that's all a conspiracy, or they start talking about conspiracies, and it's like, this has nothing to do with conspiracies. Like, I live in the United States. I watch what is happening here. I see the media. It's dumbing people down. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. I can feel my brain cells just leaving if I watch it. And I'm not talking about the news. I'm talking about all this media, this content, this Netflix and chill. With, of course, they have slogans that just sit on your couch and binge all these things until your brain is just completely sucked dry of any brain cells. It feels so stupid. And when you're at that level, you don't think it's stupid. You think it's entertaining. You think it's just, yeah. I mean, it's hard, and it's a sensitive subject to even talk about, I can tell, because it's not about me judging people or wanting to judge people. It's just that I've been there, done that, and I've seen that actually this content, this Netflix and chill, is just dumbing people down, and is just segregating people from their true essence and their true heart. A lot of these medias, they rely on emotional, attaching to your emotions, so you get emotionally involved with these shows or whatever, and these movies and these characters, and then they award actors who create high intensity emotional moments in movies, and they give those actors awards. So there's a lot of emotional stuff going on with this media content. And I could start talking about that, but I don't want to, because that's a whole other can of worms, about the power of human creation through the emotional body and how that's hijacked through modern media. And when I say hijacked, I'm talking about intention. There is intention behind dumbing people down. There is intention behind making this content really stupid, making advertising really stupid. There's intention behind it. So therefore, hijack is a good synonymous word to use, unfortunately. And people who just use the word conspiracy or claim conspiracy, they're not logical. They don't know, I guess they don't know how to think about it logically. So they resort to conspiracy terms and they just shut it all down because they don't know what to think. They don't know how to think about it. And that's exactly my point. You've been dumbed down. You don't know how to think critically anymore. You almost don't have even, people don't even have common sense. Uncommon sense is more like it now, especially since COVID. So this media dumbing people down, it's not helping with this whole heart activation thing that humans should be spending their time. Well, there is no should. I just recommend that humans spend more time activating that heart area, that heart center, and falling in love with life, falling in love with you, falling in love with your immediate environment, falling in love with that tree, falling in love with, you know, that water, falling in love with that food, falling in love with that drink. Literally, like, humanity can exist like that, where everyone's just falling in love with everything every day, all over and over again. Think of the vibrational output that would create. It's astronomical. It's off the charts. And instead, people's intentions and awareness and ability to create is hijacked and intentionally focused and funneled through channels of media and content and dumbed down brain rot. And it's all intentional. What do they care? I mean, I could just be sitting here watching television on the iPad, you know? They're not going to be like, is he talking to himself? They're in love. They're just happy. But someone mentioned how your partner, there's someone out there dreaming about you. There's someone out there who's literally dreaming about you and wanting to be in love with you. So that's extremely powerful. That's like, whoa. That's quite a thought. And yeah, to think that somebody's dreaming about you right now and manifesting you in their life and how you're the perfect partner for them, and they just fantasize about you without even knowing you exist, just hoping you exist or hoping they run into you. That's powerful. Love is such a broad spectrum, and many people avoid it because it's too much, or it comes with too much, or it associates them with too much baggage or whatever. But it's been an interesting chain of events here. I went from the middle of the woods, hanging out with Mr. Hobbit, getting served some delicious coffee. His coffee was very delicious. And now I stopped at the house of what I found out was the heiress to a hotel that is just one of the most beautiful hotels here. Historical place. And there's a lot to look forward to. There can be such rapid change in my country, the United States. There could be such rapid change. It starts overnight for the better, for the betterment of all. People need to be less distracted, though. They need to be less involved in the hive. Is what I just thought of, the hive, in terms of like doom scrolling, addicted to social media, watching Netflix and chill, binging, eating over processed foods, not exercising, not being respected with your work. All these things that distract people. There needs to be so much more respect here in my country. And I've learned that just recently. There's such an issue with respect. And if people respected each other so much more, it could change everything overnight. But there's so many careers, high paying, low paying, that just, there's a severe lack of respect. And it's all very disconnected feeling, and it's what's become of the United States in many ways, and it's not representative of our name at all. We need to let go of this segregation and this disrespect and this lack of respect, which is really just an illusion, because we're in charge, we're creating it. But people are so distracted. And again, they're intentionally distracted. It's done intentionally to distract you from that ability to change the world overnight. And I know that's a very bold statement to make, and that is an exaggeration, of course, I know, but it does say a lot between the lines. So, I hope somebody enjoyed this, and if you made it this far, wow, it's a long one.